We're in Santiago, Chile for this round of the FEMC. For the fourth race in a row, it's Revo on pole from Daniel Bogdasarov and Oscar Folstad. Then it's David Kamno, Anok Kiwi, and Iworld last time out race winner. Tommy starts 7th from Lawless Chaklerk and Mielrez. And then it's Jack Carter, best career starting position in 10th. Then it's Santino Milan, Cosmos, T. Gabo, and Leo. UK Ball starts 15th from Sebastiano Campo, Marcus Nelson. That's a row of champions with Akari making that up. Then it's Michael Novikov, Piciero, Dav Sanchez, and Vashi Chantan. We've got a good variety of strategies going down the field. Hard tires on Revo's car, but Bogdasarov on softs. All 5 lights go on. And we go green in Santiago. What a start from Daniel Bogdasarov off the line. My goodness me, he's already up into the lead before they reach the breaking point. Kamno could be able to try and get past Revo as well. And they've sent each other into the wall. That's Bogdasarov out at turn number 1. Front wing off as well. And there's a virtual safety car out there as well. Bastian Chan up into 19th with all of those incidents down there, but Kamno finding his way up into the lead of the Prix. So it's David Kamno from Revo from Oscar Folstad. And it looked like Kamno hit the wall. He didn't hit it hard, definitely slammed along it. Virtual safety car is ending, so we will get back racing. And that turn 1, it has always been a major pinch point for the drivers. And especially seeing how it's the tallest rise of any first turn on the calendar, you will always see someone going in too deep. And don't expect that to be the last time you see an incident like that. Folstad up into second, trying to take the lead away from David Kamno. Got the best tires of anyone in the top 3. So I do think Oscar Folstad, for the second weekend running, should be able to get himself up into the lead. So we come through this turn, then almost the wall for the Norwegian driver in the number 4. Forced very wide there as we now approach the massive ramp, as I like to call it. On lap 2 of 14, it's Kamno from Oscar Folstad, Iworld to P3 further back, and Kamno into the wall. He's lost his front wing. Kamno is missing his front wing. More yellows at turn 1 for... looks like someone else who's lost their front wing. Another yellow flag, and it's for Leo out of the race alongside his own teammate. Both Aurelio Pinnacle drivers in the barriers and out on the second lap of the Prix. Oscar Folstad's going to be leading this race because David Kamno's got damage to his front wing. And this is just somewhat hectic. I've never really seen an incident like that in this championship around this track layout before. This is unheard of. VSC ending as we get back racing here in Santiago, Chile. Kamno leading the way, but it really is just Oscar Folstad right now who is holding up Iworld. Both of these men, very young competitors, but Oscar Folstad's the rookie. Iworld, he's been here since season 14. He's been here since season 15, replacing JD Venter. He's finally seen his first taste of glory, and he probably wants a lot more of where that came from. As you can see behind them, Anok Kiwi trying to get past Revo, trying to find a way to get past the hyperdrive man. Kamno has peeled into pit lane, so it is Oscar Folstad leading the way. Iworld fast start. That going to Tommy. Mielrez into the pit, so he was why we got the second yellows. As out of the race goes Oscar Folstad. Iworld also looks to have a bit of an off there. Revo, who also got side-swiped there. Iworld's missing it, part of his front wing too. The McLaren man out of this race, flipped by another driver further down the order. Tommy up to P3, and he's likely going to be leading this one. I don't know how so much damage can be dealt to a car like that, and for the driver to be okay, but that's just happened. Iworld now leads the way, with Revo second, Tommy third, and Anok Kiwi in fourth. Very big fan of the graphics package we have with unique driver numbers. However, for some drivers it doesn't look too good. For example, Mielrez, dark green on a dark grey on a dark green background. Not the best. Much better with Marcus Nelson's color scheme. As you can see on board with Tommy in the number 45 Next TV Neo car. He won a race last season. He's probably going to try and do it again this season. I expect Iwell to come into the pits at the end of this lap. So I expect Tommy to be leading the way. But with Volstad being out of this race, it's very confusing. Jack Carter, by the way, has gotten himself up 4 positions, likely due to all the carnage up front. Iwell does pit, so it's now Ravo leading the way from Tommy and Enoch Huey. There's a very high risk of a driver going into the wall and out of the race. Go the top 2! Oh, virtual safety car again. Pile up down at turn 1. That's 6 retirements in 1 race, unfortunately. In this very hectic wreckfest. Luckily for Enoch Huey, Lawrence Leclerc, and Jack Carter, they have not received front wing damage, so they will be allowed to hold position. World must feel like he's dodged a nuclear bomb, a hydro-atomic bomb he's dodged somehow. And all he's had to pay for it is drop to 15th. And considering the rate of which drivers are crashing out of this race, I think 15th is a fair price to pay. That's now 16th. He's had to let Mulrose go by him. But not Huey leading the way with the Lawrence Leclerc very close to the back of him. That's a lot of weaving from Leclerc in the 16. He's got quite a bit of tyre wear. Could become susceptible to being overtaken by Jack Carter, who's currently right behind him, but he has got 2 red cars behind him in the Nissan and Cosmos in that Mahindra car. A lot of weaving coming through that turn. Almost the wall for Vashi Chantan, shown 8th position on a silver platter, up into 7th then with drivers coming in. Santino Milan leading the way, but he's got Cosmos coming down his inside, and he's going to blow up into the lead. Sent very wide there, very deep. Shocked that neither of them crashed out. Out of the race has got Marcus Nelson there. Marcus Nelson and Michael Novikov both out of the Prix. Oh dear, I think... Okay, luckily they've cleared up both cars, so that's another double retirement in a lap. And we're back under VSC. Next EV Neo will score nil points today. But for Cosmos, in his debut season, this might be the kind of race that every rookie needs. A race of high attrition. Some drivers might not be able to cope with it. For example, Oscar Volstad, and others might shine with it. And others might just, not do much. This is the kind of race where even established drivers can wreck out of. We've seen 3 World Drivers' Champions retire from this race, and the only champion... Is it champion? No, it's champions. Oh, yellow's in the 3rd sector. Gabba with a track limits warning. And oh, it's for P. Sierra. P. Sierra out of the race. Mulrez looks to have hit the back of that car. And he's got a 5-second time penalty and has lost part of his front wing. Unfortunate that we couldn't see that. But that's a very weird accident. Very weird place to have an accident like that. Cosmos in. Milan in. Gabo in. Sanchez staying out. Vashi Chantan inherits the lead of the Prix. But we still got a VSC. Santino Milan out of the Prix. In the pits. Unfortunate. Had to pull the car in, we're being told. Drivetrain issues. And also some carbon fiber down at turn 1 that they've had to clear up. Likely from Novikov and Nelson's crash, but we get back racing then. On lap 6 of 14, up the hill we go on board with Mulrez. As you can see, it's just about keeping yourself within track limits. Because if you exceed track limits at turn 1, they don't penalize you. You just crash. That's kind of how it works. Luckily for Vashi Chantan, he's got no one behind him using attack mode. But Sanchez using all of his attack charge. Camino's got attack mode on Sanchez. So let's see. Do any of these top 3 men try and overtake each other? especially coming through this third sector, it can always be a little bit trippy, a little bit I cannot speak. It can always be a little bit tricky to overtake someone coming through this part of the track. But with 8 laps to go, Chantan and Daf Sanchez holding station. A lot of weaving from David Camino, though. I expect him to try and come in. He does. So he's doing a 2-stopper. Already, it's going to be a 3-stopper come race's end, but the hard tire runners have managed to dodge 2 pit stops. UK Ball sitting a fastest lap. Very deep from Daf Sanchez. Also deep from Cosmos. As out of the race goes Jack Carter. Carter out and sliding there. Oh, spin! An Arcuecha clerk involved in that incident, hitting the back of the Mahindra driver. And everyone who's going to finish this race now will score points. This has been actually a hellish, hectic race where neither hyperdrive car is going to finish. Neither Nissan is going to finish. Neither Next TV Neo car is going to finish. And neither Pinnacle car is going to finish this race. You only have App Schaeffler. You have App Sportsline in this race with Milrez, the 2 Brauns, the 2 Mercedes, the 2 Andrettis, a McLaren, a Virgin, and a Mahindra. As that is iWorld fighting with Cosmos over P3. I'm pretty sure similar fight going on for 5th. This part of the track, you do see some drivers struggle with grip. If they are, it's going to be exacerbated. As Ocampo on the back of Lala Leclerc. He and UK Ball, the only champions still left in this race. As Vashi Chantan still out there. Cosmos gets passed by Daf Sanchez, and Sanchez wasn't even using attack mode. That's just how much better the American car is in South America, it seems. As you see Gabo struggling, and into the wall goes UK Ball. He's still in this race. That's the pure skill of being a champion. You can see similar with Ocampo, and it's the same thing for the other Braun car. Both Brauns are going to have to come into the pits at the end of this race. At the end of this lap, sorry. So they're going to have to double stack down at Braun. And considering they're both changing front wings, that could take a lot more time than they would have wished. So they might end up retiring the cars instead. Cosmos with attack mode, getting very close to the back of the Andretti. He's going to pull to the inside line, and he's going to take 2nd place away from Daf Sanchez. Will Sanchez fight that one, however? And I don't think he will. I don't think he's got the tire grip to do such a thing. I don't know if he could fight back, but he's definitely not fighting back against that one. UK Ball still struggling somewhat with downforce. As Camino's dropped Milrez somewhat, definitely due to that long straight being somewhere where you don't need a lot of downforce. Vashi Chantan has gone 9 laps on his hard tires. Cosmos sitting a fastest lap of the Prix. Gabo resetting that. Is Cosmos coming at him? Down the inside comes Cosmos, and into the wall goes Cosmos. That was a very late lunge, and it's left him without a front wing to speak of. So, Milrez is going to be the last one to come through that first turn. We're going to go back to the leaders in a second, but out of the race goes Milrez, sliding down the hill. And he just sees now where he's come from. And that is how the cookie will crumble for App Sportsline. Neither App Sportsline car will finish today's race. But with Cosmos currently leading the way on lap 9, he's going to have to come into the pits at the end of this lap. VSC is ending then. So Vashi Chantan with his hard tires, he'll likely pit at the end of this lap. If McLaren put him onto softs, that could be a very big worry. Gabo trying to close in on that McLaren ahead of him. iWorld currently right behind. I think McLaren might be in a very good place to win a race with only one car. Daf Sanchez weaving quite a bit coming through that part of the track. Cosmos coming through the quad apex turn there. There's a very noticeable lack of grip with the top guys who've gone on their tires a lot longer than they probably should have. And I'm talking about the hard tire runners as they come into the pits. Gabo will lead the way on lap 10 of 14. Vasichantan and Dav Sanchez are going to have to try and make the one-stop work very deep into turn 1, rising up the hill. A similar story for the guys behind. The 2 Brawn cars coming out of the final turn then. Ocampo, Leclerc and U-Cable, your top 4. And into the wall again goes U-Cable. He has just come into the pits. And out of the race goes his teammate. What? I'm lost for words. Unbelievable from Brawn GP. Both of their drivers have just come into the pits. Do you not think that they would have been given advice on where to brake coming into turn 1? But no, Camino is out of the Prix here in Santiago, Chile. VSC ending then, and we go back racing. And we've still got yellows, and that's for the race leader, David Camino. No, that's T. Gabo losing his front wing. Sorry. Is that purple Virgin car. Unfortunate inactivities from him once again. And he'll have to come into the pits with U-Cable and be put on the Hall of Shame for noticeable reasons. But that's just probably losing it due to a lack of grip. We see this all too often here. But in with him is Sebastian Ocampo. Lawless Leclerc takes the lead of the E-Prix. This very hectic E-Prix. Hopefully we don't see any more retirements. Bastian Tan, I've been told how to pronounce his name, and my mind is still telling me otherwise. He's currently up into second. Cosmos almost brushing the wall. Out of the race goes last time out's race winner, Iworld, and his front wing debris. He has been run over by Gabo, who now facing the wrong direction, getting it back righted. We've only got one Mercedes in this race now. The only team that is currently looking at a double point score is DS Andretti. These guys are currently bottom of the World Constructors Championship, and they are looking at a double point score. That's how much a hectic race can change a team's fate. This is the kind of race that Andretti have been waiting for. So with 3 laps to go, Leclerc still leading the way. And almost the wall for Lawless Leclerc. That is the wall for Lawless Leclerc. Slamming hard into the barrier for Lawless Leclerc. Losing its front wing for the Mercedes man. Mercedes nuts. But now, Vasichantan's going to be much closer to the back of the Mercedes man. And Leclerc has been told to come in, VSC. And that's the race leader out of the race. That is Leclerc up ahead. And he's lost it due to a lack of grip. So Vasichantan back up into the race lead. And if Vasichantan can manage to win this race, it's going to be a culmination of strategy and pure willpower. This is a race that seemingly nobody wants to finish. And we've currently only got a top 6 finish currently. That is everyone scoring more than 8 points. Which we've seen in previous seasons. 8 points is actually a lot. It is sometimes even the difference between winning and losing. As U-Cable out of the E-Prix, running over Gabo's front wing. Once again, Gabo with issues. Neither Brawn GP car will finish as well. Everyone scores more than 10 points today. With 2 laps to go, it's carnage down at turn 1 that we're seeing. Virtual safety car is out there. And we should definitely push back the walls at turn 1. In real life, there's actually a gravel trap down there, so I wonder if that can be added. We get back racing then. And Bastian Tan still leading the way in that number 22 McLaren TGR car. It's not been the easiest race for someone to even be in, let alone win. But if Bastian does win it, then I can tell you this, it'll be a race that he'll remember for quite a while. It'll be shell-shocked, to say the least. On to the penultimate lap of the E-Prix. Bastian Tan leading the way from Cosmos, and Dav Sanchez, almost the wall for Vastientan there. Cosmos coming up there, rise of turn 1 with the 200s right behind. Gabo coming into pit lane, and in 5th, we've only got 5 men still in this race. This is going to be hell to try and make interesting, because it is just 5 drivers, and they are all separated by at least 2 seconds. There is no real fight going on for position. Sebastian Ocampo sitting at fastest first sector of anyone at 20.1. Gabo 33 seconds off the race lead as he comes through turn number 1, almost grazing the wall of turn number 1. But Vastientan, he started at the back of the grid, started in last position, and he's going to try and get McLaren's first race win in the FEMC for a long while. I don't even know if McLaren has won a race in this championship. I genuinely thought Oscar Falstad would do it last time out, but it looks like it's going to have to come down to the number 22. And a Philippine driver looks to win a race again this season. You can't escape it, but we'll only know after this lap ends. Fastest lap going to Vastientan. It's the final lap here in Santiago, Chile. And he's clean through turn number 1. Ocampo resetting the fastest lap as he's closing in on his teammate. Sends it down the inside on his teammate. Ocampo to P3. So we've got 2 Philippine flags on the podium still. Gabo coming through the penultimate turn then. But Vastientan, he's had everything thrown against him. The kitchen sink, the cupboards, the floor, the entire house has been thrown against the number 22 man. But for him, he's got a sector and a half to go in this Prix. All of these men have somehow managed to survive the Santiago Prix. So now, coming through the final sector, fastest first sector going to T. Gabo in that purple Virgin car. He's had the most shit thrown at him today. But Vastientan then, coming through the quarter apex, 3rd to last turn. It's been hell on earth for him to try and complete, but he's going to do it through the final turn. And it's going to be Vastientan then who wins the Santiago Prix with the fastest lap of the race. Come race's end, Cosmos comes home with P2 in his debut season. Ocampo in 3rd, snatching the fastest lap. His teammate in Dav Sanchez comes home to finish 4th, and it will be T. Gabo in 5th and last position. 5th place is last in a race. 22 cars started this one, and 17 of them didn't finish. Fastest lap going to Gabo at the end of the race. And this is the podium then. Vastientan, bastion of survival in this race. He wins the Santiago Prix from Cosmos in his Mahindra, Indonesia, on a podium of a motorsport race. When have you ever seen that? And Sebastian Ocampo is 3rd. Then it's Dav Sanchez and T. Gabo, the rest of your point scorers. So in the Drivers' Championship, Ravo still leading the way on 56 points. Then it's iWorld and a tie for 3rd between Vastientan and UCable. Then it's Welsh Leclerc, T. Gabo, Daniel Bogdassar of Cosmos, Leo Sebo Campo, Jack Carter, Oscar Falstad, Dav Sanchez, P. Sierra, Akari Lopez, Milrez, Anot Kiwi, David Camino, Santino Milan, Michael Mokovov being your point scorers still. Your non-scorers so far are Marcus Nelson and Tommy. So in the World Constructors standings going into the Mexico City Prix, Hyperdrive Racing lead the way on 71 points from Mercedes Formula E team and Virgin Renault. Then it's McLaren TGR, Braun Honda GP, Mahindra, DS Andretti, Aurelio Pinnacle, Nissan Nismo, App Sportsline, and Next EV Neo. We'll see you guys next time for hopefully a much calmer race in Mexico.